You want to make sure you listen to this broadcast, this edition of the Neishloss podcast here. I am your host, Mike Asti, and there's kind of a pun there because this edition is going to focus on SureBridge, which is an ancillary carrier that deals a lot with dental, vision, hearing. There's even cancer and accident plans. And to discuss with the goings on of SureBridge and what's going on for your ears, dental, all of that, your hearing. Make sure you have the hearing peeled here and you do whatever you can to make sure you listen to this broadcast. I have coming on sales director with SureBridge, Seth Groff, who was kind enough to join me. We've talked a lot with your colleague, Mike, and now our first kind of discussion here with Seth as he now moves into that role. And Seth, first off, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Bill.
Um, it's Mike. Actually, I'm sorry. The Bill. That's funny. No, I'm Mike Asti. That's it's a common thing. There's Bill. Actually, is our VP. He's going to be on the recording bar there just because he's paying for this program. So no problem. But I wanted to start off here with SureBridge. Obviously, has a fantastic product portfolio. There's a lot going on with SureBridge and everything that SureBridge has to do in terms of what it can offer their clients. What do you feel is the single most important product that agents need to present to their clients? Because obviously, when an agent's sitting down on the kitchen table with a client, there's a lot they want to cover, but if they overwhelm them with too much, they're either going to withdraw or they're not going to understand it. They're not going to take it all in. So they try to kind of get bullet points. What do you feel is the main talking point that an agent has to communicate when talking SureBridge with a client?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I'm going to kind of tiptoe around that answer to begin with, and I always say that it depends.
Okay,
I am a
that's
firm
fair.
believer in asking clients questions and finding out what their specific needs are, and then showing them solutions that address their specific needs. Now, like you said, SureBird has a wide range of products, which is a good thing because, most of the time, if you're talking to a client, we're going to have something that is going to be of interest to them. Now, if you are looking for one product that an agent should at least ask about in every presentation, it would be SureBridge's Prime DVH, the dental, vision, and hearing combo product. And the reason I say you should ask every client about this product in every presentation is because, number one, it's going to be simple to bring up. And number two, most consumers understand dental insurance, and a lot of them have dental insurance and would be open to looking at other options. And so I always tell agents it's the easiest product to bring up in a presentation, because all you have to do is ask, are you currently going to the dentist? And from that simple question, then you can transition into talking about the benefits of going with SureBridge's Prime DVH, the dental, vision, and hearing plan.
And I think what's also a nice part of the DVH combo plan is it does encompass everything kind of every person's going to need to deal with at some point. I mean, we deal a lot with Medicare and different carriers, but the beauty of SureBridge, this is a 0 to 90 situation. So you could even be dealing with a normal for a Medicare agent, you could be dealing with a normal Medicare agent's grandson or granddaughter potentially involved with SureBridge based on the needing at some point something to do with dental, something to do with vision, something to do with hearing. Everyone's going to be dealing with that at some point or another, hopefully not too much throughout a lifetime. So that definitely groups it all in. And that's what we pitch to a lot of agents as well, that combo for the states that it is applicable in. Now, this is really what I think is one of the coolest things about SureBridge, at least to me. Maybe not all agents will enjoy this as much, but this is definitely a trend-setting, revolutionary thing that SureBridge is doing. They're getting ahead of the curve here, which is generally smart in business. That SureBridge is one of the first carriers to go completely paper-free for licensing and enrollment. This is basically an online carrier, which I enjoy. Some of you may not, but that's just the way it is regardless. Now, that's obviously going to bring some hesitation because there are some agents that maybe have not had to deal with everything being online. They've been able to do paper applications for other carriers that maybe they want them to go online, but they're able to get away with the paper, so they keep on moving with the paper application. They feel it's easier, it's just kind of convenient in what they've been working with. But SureBridge is now completely paper free. So, what would you tell an agent who, not like me, who enjoys doing things online? What would you tell an agent that is hesitant and wants to have the paper capability, doesn't want to be pushed online, is maybe not as excited about this being completely paper free?
Yep, that's a great question, and it comes up quite a bit, especially in the over 65 market. And I acknowledge the concerns of agents, and I always use my family as an example. My mother is 65 years old. She has a smartphone. She has email. For her, enrolling on an online application is not a problem, right? She's very technically savvy, and I think
Right.
that when you talk to most 65 year olds, and then also baby boomers turning 65, it's not going to be an issue.
Hmm.
Where the concern is obviously with older individuals, and I'll use like my grandmother for example. She's 89, and if you asked her to do a online DVH application, she's going to struggle. So I acknowledge the concern, but I always try to have agents understand why we move to all online applications. And as a company, we want to provide the best product for the consumer, and we also want to make sure that we pay competitive commissions to the agent. And the only way that we can do that is by keeping our costs down. And so by moving to electronic app, it allows us to do that, provide very competitive products and still pay competitive commissions. And when you look at our products, and specifically like our Prime DVH, which is going to be guaranteed issue, we're issuing over 95% of those instant approval in real time. That means that nobody touches it in the home office. It's approved and then is issued. And we process over 260,000 policies a year, and I think our underwriting and processing team is 2 people. And so it's just the
Wow.
fact that it is all done online. We can keep that overhead down, and we can pass those savings on to the client in terms of competitive products, and also pass those on to the agent in terms of competitive comp. The other thing that I always say is that you're going to see more and more carriers go this route. If you're only going to be in the industry for maybe another, say 2 to 5 years, yeah, you can probably get away with, continue using carriers that do paper applications. But I believe that down the road, 4, 5, 6 years from now, all carriers are going to move to that. And so if you're going to stay competitive, and you're going to continue to work with those seniors, the youngest baby boomers right now are 56 years old, and they're all tech savvy. And so this just the way the industry is going and the trend. And if you don't move to online applications, I think you're going to be left behind. So, SureBridge isn't for everybody. I tell them, if you're not comfortable with online applications, or if you don't work with clients that are going to be able to complete online applications, then we're just not going to be a fit for you, because we made the decision to go all paperless and we're not going back.
Yeah, once you make that decision, there really is no going back, because you talk about 5, 6, 7 years from now. I could even argue it might be sooner, because there's already some carriers that are already having grumblings of doing that, and almost getting sorely when you have to use paper, and they're already kind of moving towards online. You guys are the first to go completely paper free, or one of the first, but that's definitely the trend. So it does make sense, and it is usually smart in this world today to be proactive rather than reactive. And I'm sure that was probably a lot of the conversation in your business meetings about that decision. Let's be proactive rather than reactive. Let's master this craft, because it's going to happen anyway in a few years. And yeah, obviously there's going to be some agents who are unfortunately going to be left out, but there's going to still be a lot that I think that are going to be able to utilize this. And I will also say, it's not like it's incredibly excruciating. Once you get over the hesitation of having to get away from the paper app and being online, it's a relatively simple process. It's not like you guys are making it, splitting the atom there in terms of what you're doing online. It just needing to be able to get on there is really the main thing, and then kind of moving through. And it's something that can easily be learned, but is needed for agents anyway. So I can say that as part of the advice we give on these shows, that it's just really necessary to hop on the train, or you might be left behind. Now, if you were an independent broker, Seth, and I have my license, I don't know if you do as well, and if you've ever sold, but if you were able to put yourselves in the agent's shoes, whether it be in the kitchen table or on the phone, or really in the entire process of trying to get a sale off, and including SureBridge, how would you use SureBridge to leverage Medicare products? Because I know that a lot of what we deal with here, and a lot of the agents that we have contracted through Neishloss and Fleming with SureBridge, are normally Medicare agents, and they deal with both MedAdvantage and MedSup in all the top carriers that I won't name here, but they have those traditional carriers, maybe some other lesser known carriers, and then sometimes they would call in looking for a dental vision hearing, looking for even just dental, and some of those top tier carriers don't have really that great of policies, or maybe none at all in terms of those ancillary benefits. So then it really can fit in well with adding SureBridge. And it sometimes you have to introduce the topic and have to tell them about Chesapeake Life and SureBridge, and then they contract under SureBridge, but they're not going to get away from their Medicare business. So they want to use this as addition to that, as an ancillary, and kind of leverage the two together. So how would you best maybe give advice or try to connect those dots between what they're doing with their Medicare sales business in their portfolio, and then adding SureBridge along and trying to leverage the two?
Yep, that's a great question. And SureBridge, we are an ancillary carrier, so we recognize the fact that we're typically going to be sold with some type of a core product, whether it's a Med Advantage plan or Med Subs. And what I always tell agents is to let Medicare.gov do the selling for you. And so if you go out to Medicare.gov, there's a document called Medicare and Me. And I believe that this document is mailed to senior clients that turn 65 as well. And I always tell agents to flip to page 49 in Medicare and You. Sorry, not Medicare and Me, Medicare and You, and flip to page 49. And on page 49, it says what's not covered by Part A and Part B. And it says Medicare doesn't cover everything. If you need certain services that aren't covered under Medicare Part A or Medicare Part B, you'll have to pay for them yourselves, unless you have it through Medicaid or they're covered in a Medicare. And then it lists out what these are. And it says most dental care. It says hearing aids and exams for fitting them. And then it also says something about vision. And so right there in the Medicare and You handbook, it specifically says that Part A and Part B does not cover dental care. It doesn't cover eye exams related to prescribing glasses, and it doesn't
Right.
cover hearing aids and exams for fitting them. And so this is a document that comes from the government. It comes, you can download it from online, or like I said, it typically gets mailed to the client. They have it, they read through it, and it actually does the selling for you because it establishes the need, because it's not going to be covered in the Part A and Part B. And I do know that some Med Advantage plans do have some dental benefits, embedded in them, but always take a look at them, because a lot of times they're going to be very limited, and they might only provide some preventative care. And if that client's looking for some additional care, the DVH is going to be a good fit. So if you're working that Medicare market, just let the Medicare and You do the selling, and flip to page 49 and show the client that, and circle it and say, we're going to come back here and cover some options that will help cover the cost for dental, vision, and hearing.
Yeah, so I mean that's going to be important to put those two together, because obviously, yeah, it is an ancillary carrier, but it's certainly a carrier that can serve the clients, which is what every agent wants. What we kind of want is to make sure the client's served to the best of the ability of all of this together. And if it takes pairing SureBridge with a Med Advantage or a Med Sup carrier, then that's what it takes. But SureBridge definitely offers a lot that some of those do not, and some of those have a lot of high costs in terms of what's not offered. So SureBridge definitely can help you out there. And generally, SureBridge is not an expensive situation to undertake. So it definitely can be a fit for a lot of different clients out there. Seth Groff here, Sales Director with SureBridge. I am Mike Asti, and this is another edition here of the Neishloss podcast. As we round things out, Seth, the SureBridge DVH, the Prime DVH plan, is the main one we touched on earlier. It is the main combo benefit that I bring up a lot when you're talking with an agent and trying to pitch them on working with SureBridge. If the state has that ability and has that option, it's really the best way to go because it brings everything together and it's really not much more to ask for a client to pay. What would you say is the best selling point of the SureBridge DVH Prime plan that agents need to fully understand, not just knowing what it covers, the dental vision hearing, and that they all are grouped together, but kind of a little bit of the nitty gritty so that agents fully understand the DVH Prime plan and can best communicate it to a client?
Yeah, I think the number one selling point is the fact that the preventive dental is going to be covered from day one with no deductible at 100%, assuming that they go in network. When you look at other DVH plans out in the marketplace, a lot of times, even for that preventative, so that, basic cleaning, the client's going to get hit with the deductible and then only a certain percentage of the benefit would be paid. But with SureBridge, preventative dental is covered from day one with no deductible, and at 100%. And so I think that's the richest benefit and the benefit that the client is going to see the immediate benefit from because they can go out and get that cleaning immediately. And then in addition to that, your vision and your hearing exams are going to be covered from day one with no deductible as well. And so if you think about this plan, right, a client can purchase it, the policy gets in force, they can go and get their teeth cleaned, they can go see their optometrist, and they can go see their hearing exams and not have any out of pocket costs. And so, right there is typically going to be enough value to recoup the costs associated with the premiums. And so, I just really put an emphasis on the preventative and the vision and hearing exams that are going to be covered from day one with no out of pocket costs. And so, you can get this plan and you can go start using them immediately, where when you look at a lot of the other DVH plans out in the marketplace, it's not going to cover them at 100%, or they're going to charge them a deductible, and it's just not quite as good of a benefit. So that's what I always say is the number one selling point: preventative dental covered from day one, 100% without any deductible.
Yeah, and sounds good to me. I mean, that definitely should be a major selling point of the SureBird DVH, which again is the kind of the main focus and jumps out on the page for you when you look at what SureBridge offers. But they do offer the whole kitchen sink with cancer accident plans and a whole lot else. But in terms of our relationship with SureBridge, I will say that SureBridge was kind of introduced to me um, about 6 months ago, and I know it's been around a little bit longer than that, but that's kind of where I started diving in terms of talking with agents about SureBridge, and it does end up being a great benefit to add on to a lot of the Medicare carriers and really has been an ancillary that it seems like agents have to have, and that's kind of what we say. We here, though, do make sure that we serve our agents the best we can, and we really do pride ourselves on service. So when you have a SureBridge contracted agent with Seth who needs help maybe going through the paper application as we talked about earlier, because this is paperless, needs help dealing with something online, needs something communicated to them. So any of the people you talk to, any agents out there that are concerned that about paperless and maybe having to do all of this online, the licensing and the apps, and they're not as familiar, they don't understand, they can use us as their FMO. Being under us would give them the ability to call us, and we would try to walk them through and try to make it as easy as possible so that they're not left out on a great ancillary carrier just because of the hang up of it being paperless. So we can kind of guide them through, and we do pride ourselves on service, always being available on the phone, email, whatever else. And we also do have a lot of our capability in terms of an in-house graphic designer who can help the SureBridge agents or anyone else make business cards, billboards, any marketing strategy, anything with their website, anything to help sell that product without having to actually just focus on the phone calls, on cold calls, and getting leads and things like that. And then we do actually have, I almost was going to jump in. You talk about Medicare.gov. That's a great site. It certainly can get support from what the government says. But we also have something called MedicareCenter.com that having a contract under us with Neishloss and Fleming, as well as really any other integrity marketing group, FMO, would give you the ability to use a MedicareCenter.com. And right now, that's mostly for Medicare Advantage and PDP. That is going to be in the future, I believe, for MedSups and SureBridge and different carriers like that. But that allows you to use an online enrollment tool where you can enroll people right there. You can use a quote engine. You can build their profiles right there. And once that pops to something like SureBridge, that'll make it easier for even the agent and then to the client to be able to utilize and even get more sales. And yes, that's online, but again, we can help you with that as well. So I know SureBridge is doing a lot for agents because of what they're offering and kind of making up ground that some of those major carriers aren't tackling or haven't been tackling. So there's definitely place for SureBridge in the market and what Seth's doing. And we're trying to just make Seth's life easier here and SureBridge's life easier by helping the agents. And that will kind of be a benefit of what we can provide here with Neishloss and Fleming. If we're your FMO, not that other FMOs aren't great too, that I'm sure Seth talks to, but if we're your FMO, we feel like we can help get you the most out of your business and help you the most and get you moving in the right direction and maximize what we can offer, especially if you have that SureBridge contract to add to whatever else you're doing and can help Seth and SureBridge out the most. So, Seth, again, we appreciate the time here. I appreciate you jumping on the show with me to talk about SureBridge. It's an ancillary, but it's very, very important in the market, even the Medicare market right now. And any final words, any messages you want to get out to the agent on how to best how to best sell SureBridge to a client, the necessity of adding SureBridge, just anything out there about maybe what SureBridge is doing in the future. If anything, you don't want to break any news to us, certainly feel free.
No, I just want to reinforce how easy it is to bring up these plans with your clients. Obviously, the concern from agents is they don't want to lose the core sale, but you can't look at it from a selling standpoint. You have to look at selling ancillaries as an education standpoint, and just
Right.
educating them on what their out of pocket exposure is, and then the solutions to pay for them. And so if you don't take a high pressure approach to it and just bring it up, ask the questions, and just educate them on the options available, you're going to be surprised of how many policies you sell. So that'll be my final comments, and I appreciate the opportunity to jump on today's podcast.
No problem. Yeah, I think that makes perfect sense. And that's kind of what we say as well, that it's really in general. You don't want to come across like you're selling too much anyway, dealing with clients. And it's really just about educating them, presenting them the best options, educating them again, and allowing them to be served to what they need, really fulfilling their needs. And SureBridge is something that they're going to need, they do need. And that's kind of really what it's all about. Once you educate them, there's really not going to be anybody who's going to say SureBridge isn't for me, because it really could be for everybody, and everyone's going to need that type of care at some point. So thanks again, Seth, and we'll definitely have to talk again sometime soon here.
All right. Thanks.
All right, and that has been another episode here of the Neishloss podcast. That one was Seth Groff, the sales director with SureBridge. That one ancillary, but still very, very important in terms of the overall business, the DV8. So hopefully you had your ears listening to that show, and if not, you maybe need to deal with SureBridge to improve that to you if you couldn't fully hear it. And we'll take a bite out of that program as well for you. And I will now stop with the puns and close this one off. But I was your host, Mike Asti. That was Seth Groff. Until we meet again.